We're recording.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Susan Justiniano, Rescue Poetics. And what I'm going to do now is just share my screen so that we can get some information. So welcome to Google Drive 101. Google Drive is a cloud storage service that is available to us. And just a little bit about me, moving a little too fast there. So a little bit about me. There we are, here we are. So a little bit about me. I'm an IT training and IT education specialist. I'm an entrepreneur, an advocate, as well as a writer, poet, and Jersey proud, born and raised in Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. So just to let you know, I've had over 20 years of IT education and training experience. I've done projects, I do training across the board throughout the US, remote, which has been a very big thing for us. And this is why Google Drive is so important for us now. I've done mobile platforms, Microsoft Office, all kinds of things. So usually if you've heard about it, I've done it. And if you've heard about it and I haven't done it, I'm always willing to learn about it. So that's the great thing about all this wonderful technology and the use of the internet. So I'm also a project manager. I've done project management from the very beginning. And next month in June, we're going to have a project management 101 using the tools that we're currently using, like Google Suite, Google Email, and all those different things. So if you haven't signed up for that workshop and that's something that's been on your radar, sign up. It's free. It's open to the public. And I'm here to learn from your experiences as well as you are from mine. So if you have a project management story you'd like to bring, we and I especially would love to hear it. So please sign up for that workshop. I look forward to that. We have a couple of other things coming up, but I'll let Debbie talk about that at the end. In addition to that, I've done proposals, collaborations, and all kinds of crazy things. I have technical expertise for public and private events. And what does that mean? Running Zoom, doing virtual stage management, and virtual stage design, putting together little PowerPoints like this one for presentations, putting videos together for presentations. So there's a lot of things involved in that. I'm also bilingual. I speak Spanish and English. And sometimes that helps people feel a little bit more comfortable. So that's a little bit about me. So what we're going to do today, we're going to cover a couple of different things. So as Debbie encouraged you to do earlier, please let us know in the chat how you heard about the workshop and give us some information about you. I'd like to know a little bit more about you as well. So if you could share that, that would be great. Just a little bit about community agreements, some housekeeping rules. We are recording this session. And if you don't want to be on camera, you're welcome to turn your camera off. Be engaged, ask questions. We're here to communicate and collaborate and share information. So feel free to ask your questions. You can ask them in the chat. I will stop in between and ask if there are any questions. So if you want to hold your questions to the end of the segment when I ask, you're welcome to do so. You can also test your knowledge. While we're going through the different steps, I'm going to share some links in the chat. And you can practice while we're doing it. And if you're a person who likes to observe first and then actually go into the practice, the recording will be made available to you afterwards. So here, if something is unclear or you want me to go over something again before I jump into the next topic, you're welcome to use the term hold. And that'll let me know that there's something that you'd like to clarify or something that you'd like to do again. So feel free to do that. And if you need a break, take a pause, step back, step away, and take care of yourself first. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to recap what Google Drive is and what it does and how it works really quick. That'll be like 5 minutes. And then what we're going to do is talk about creating and organizing folders. And we're going to do that during today's session. We're going to take a couple minutes and do that if you're comfortable doing so. We're also going to create some files from the Google Suite. Things like documents, sheets, PowerPoints, forms. These are all tools that are available in the Google Suite. And then what we're going to do is talk about and do some collaborative editing. And we'll go over what all that means in just a little bit. So that's it for my presentation. And just one last note, confidence comes from being prepared. And you notice that when you are prepared, when you are ready, when you knowledge is power, right? So when you're ready, you are more confident moving forward. So that's what these sessions are about, to help you be prepared for the things that you're doing in your life, to help you become organized if that's a goal for you, to help build the confidence in the things that you're doing. I don't know about you, but I was not raised in the age of technology. I was raised in the age of fax, telefax, and all different, like, what is it? I don't even know what they call them anymore. Carbon paper, the duplicate paper, where you go ahead and you make copies and different things. So technology was something that I had the opportunity, and I'm fortunate enough to have been in when it first started, to watch it grow and develop and to be part of that. And it's always fascinated me. So there is that part of it. So I've been where we all are now, learning, developing, trying to be engaged with technology. And for some of us, it can be easy because it can be. For others of us, not so easy, and that's okay too. So we're going to take it one step at a time, go nice and slow, and go through the different steps here that are available to us. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment, and I'm going to share again. And what I'm going to share now is my entire screen. So you will see me again, because I'm not sharing anything as of yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate us to a different area. I'm going to navigate us to where Google Drive is. So now I am sharing my screen, and you should see the lovely lotus flower from the music that I play for myself, because I do get a little bit nervous. Public speaking is always one of those things that make you very nervous. So here I am. And now what I'm going to do is just touch a little bit on what Google Drive is. So give me 1 second here. Let's go back. And we are looking at our screen. And I'm going to minimize this bar. Let's see if I can do that here. Let's see, hide the floating meeting bar, which is what I want to do. So there we are. So now I'm going to go back and share my screen. And I am sharing my screen. What you should be seeing is the YouTube video. And if you don't see it, let us know in the chat, and then I'll reshare, because sometimes with technology, it doesn't always work the way we'd like it to work. So Google Drive, what is it and where do I find it? So let's say you're logged into your email. And I'm just going to open this here. I'm logged into my email. And my email, you know, I have my inbox. I have all this wonderful tools that are available to me. And I'm interested, or I want to start using Google Drive. What is Google Drive, first of all? Google Drive is a storage outlet, a storage resource, a cloud storage. What does that mean? That means that you don't save it on your computer, you save it to the cloud. And the cloud is distinguished by saving on other servers in another place that you can access from anywhere at any time. Whether it's through the desktop application, whether it's through the website, whether it's through Google Suite in this platform here, in this box that Google has provided us with, or from your mobile device. You can access Google from anywhere, especially, and most importantly, you would need to have a Google account in order to create things. If someone shares something with you, you don't need to have a Google account. But what you can do is set yourself up with one. It's free. You don't have to do anything or go out of your way or add that to your budget of expenses. So here, what you're looking at now, you can see my screen is my Gmail. And you can see on the upper right-hand corner, underneath the address bar, there are some icons. One of those icons determines the account that I'm logged into, my Google account. Next to it, to the left of it, you will see the application launcher, the app switcher, the Google Apps. And that's designated by a box with 9 smaller boxes in it. And if you click on it, it kind of looks like a keypad on a phone. So if you click on it, you'll see that there are a lot of things that are available to us. And yours might look a little different than mine, but this is primarily these are all the Google applications that are available. And we're going to dive even more into this during Project Management 101. But for today, the focus is going to be on Google Drive. So I'm going to click on the icon that says Google Drive, and it's distinguished by the triangle, a multicolored triangle. And it may be in a different position in your app launcher, or it may be in that same position. So here we are. This is what Google Drive looks like. Now, let me just share something else with you. Let's see if we can get that up on the screen. Now, if you're looking at Google Drive, and I'm also sharing what's called File Explorer. File Explorer is your native laptop computer storage, find a file location. And that's what File Explorer means. File Explorer means you're exploring your files, right? We are in the habit of saving things directly to our computer. And here we can save them to our documents folder, which means it's saved only on the computer. Which means that there's no backup, which means that if I lose my computer, if my computer crashes, I lose my files, I lose access to everything. So one of the things that you do want to do is to ensure that you want to back up your files, and that's one of the great tools of Google Drive. You can do that. As you can see, the layout is pretty much the same in my File Explorer as it is in my Google Drive. I can see my navigation pane on the left-hand side. I can see, and this one is a little different. And I can see that I have the information directly in the center of the screen. Now I'm going to collapse this, and I'm going to increase the size of Google Drive. And let's talk about this. What can we do here? We can add files here. We can create files here. We can communicate. We can collaborate and do a variety of different things. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share a folder with you. So the folder in Google Drive that I want to share with you, I created specifically for this session. So, and this is the folder that I'm going to share with you. It's called Test 101. So how do you do that? How do you even share a folder? So the first thing I want to do is to open it. And if I want to create the folder, I can do that straight from here. I don't have to go out and come back and do that. So here we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to share this. So you see that now I have a dialog window that has popped up. I can see that who it's already shared with, and I can see that since I'm the one who created it, I am the owner, and I've shared it with my other email address. So I can see here, I can get the link. So as you can see here, I can determine what the parameters are for that link, who can access it, and how it can be accessed. So what I want to do here is copy this link as I'm going to add it in the chat. And you'll notice I got a pop-up that said it copied in the chat. It copied the link. So let me just add it to our chat really quick. Let me get in here and add it to the chat, and you should be able to go ahead and click on that link and open it on your side. And what you should see once it's opened, what you should see is a folder and with this information in it. I added the presentation that I showed earlier so that you can see that for yourself. I also added to this a one sheet, a cheat sheet about Google. It gives you some information, it gives you some details, and I will be providing everyone through Debbie a tutorial with screenshots and step-by-step instructions. So you see here that this cheat sheet gives us some insight as to what Google is, what Google Drive is. So let's talk about how did we do this. I open up my Google Drive and it's empty. Mine is populated because I've been using it for years and years and years. But let's say maybe yours doesn't have anything, or maybe this is the only folder that you have in it. How then do you do that? How do you create a folder? How do you access to collaborate? So you'll see here on the left-hand side, there is a button called New. From this button, you can click on it and you can upload files. You can upload folders, complete folders at one time. You can add information from your computer and you set this up as a backup of your computer and the documents that you have. Now, if you save everything to your computer, that means that if you're somewhere else and you need access to your files, you cannot access them because they're on your physical computer. Through this Google Drive, what you can do is you can save them to Google Drive, save your files. As you can see, I have here quite a few of them, quite a few folders. I have information here and I can access from any web browser. I can be in another country and still access this information, log into my Google account. I can access from my mobile device, whether it's a phone or whether it's an iPad. Now, I can do it through the web browser, which is what you see here in front of you, or you can download the desktop app or the mobile application. Sign in with your Google, your Gmail address with the password, and you're in. So I think they've started multi-factor authentication or security. So you may get a confirm that this is you, confirm your location, or you'll get a notification that someone's trying to log into your account. So you can go through those steps and follow them in your email. So once I click on that new button, I can see that I have some options here. Some of these options are things that we use every single day in different places. Some of us may have Word, some of us may have Excel, or what the Apple equivalent to that is. So here we can see that Google Suite provides us these applications in a single point access, in a single widget, where I can go in here and I can click on these things and then do the different action items. So I can add a new folder. I can create the new folder. I can title my new folder. And if you're following along, feel free to do that because no one will see your information except you. You can create a new folder. I can title it and I can create it. I'm going to cancel that and let's go back to the new. And then we could talk about uploading. Let's say I have a folder of creative projects that I want to upload to Google Drive because I'm going away. I'm not taking my laptop, but I may need to access this information. So I can do that as well. I can upload one individual file, which could be anything from a video to a PowerPoint presentation, a document, a sheet, a picture, a series of pictures, a variety of different things. I can upload multiple files at the same time. And there are different ways to do that. You can upload here, or you could do what's called drag and drop. I had my File Explorer open earlier, and you can select them, highlight them, and drag them into Google Drive. So those options are available as well. You can do an entire folder if you wanted to upload an entire folder to Google Drive. Now, the great thing about this platform is that we have the ability to create documents, create sheets, create slides, and create forms on the go without having to leave Google Drive, without having to close this out, open up another application and work there and then upload it to Drive. I can just create them and it would save automatically in Drive. So that kind of eliminates some of those steps, those extra steps, and it helps to make things more efficient for you. If you're a person who likes to be organized and likes to have everything in one place, this is likely a very good platform for you. And just a note, I don't work for Google, I work for myself. And as an IT training specialist and as an IT education specialist, I use a lot of different tools, and this is just one of them. So if you use a different tool, there may be some similarities. If you use something like Dropbox for storage, it doesn't have the same flexibility that a tool like this does. If you use OneDrive, it likely does have some of that same flexibility. So there are different tools and they all do different things, but the basis is that you have access to your files wherever you are and wherever you go. So let's just take a click on Google Docs, and what it did is open up a new tab and created a new document for me. So let's say I just want to do a test document. And what it does, if you can see here, it automatically saves it to my Drive. And I can look at that. Let's say I want to move this or I want to select it. I can do that right in here without having to leave this platform. And I can save it directly to my Google Drive. So that's just one of the tools. The other tools are I can utilize here by clicking on new are sheets. If you're a person who likes to use spreadsheets a lot in your work, you can create that here. You do it for budgeting purposes, if you do it for work purposes, if you do it for tracking purposes, you can do that right here in Google Drive. You also have Google Slides, which is their product compared to, like, let's say Microsoft PowerPoint. You can do that here as well. You can create those on the go and see what they have available. And you can see that they also have the themes just like you would see in PowerPoint, just like you would see anywhere else. It acts the same way. It does the same things. The great thing about this here is that in addition to creating it, you can collaborate and share with others. So let's say, for example, in this Google document that I have, and that's my calendar, let's say here, I have this untitled document that is now saved to my Google Drive. I know that because I have this little cloud icon and it has a check mark through it. So I can click on that to see the status, to see any changes that are made, and it tells me, gives me information here. And it tells me that it's not ready for offline use, and all my changes are being automatically saved to Drive. So let's say, okay, now that I saved it, now how do I find it? So it's untitled here, so it'll save as an untitled document. And I can go in here and I can rename this document. And I'm going to call it GD for Google Drive. And I'm going to put today's date in here. So now it's telling me that it's saved in my Drive. I'm going to click out of that to save the naming convention. And I can click on the folder and I want to move it to a specific area in my Drive. Now, the moment I clicked on it, what it does is automatically save just in the general Google folders, kind of like a bucket. You create something, you put it in the bucket. You have things on your table to create things, it's all saved in one place. So now I want to organize this and I want to put it in a specific place. I don't have to leave here. I don't have to click save, save as. I don't have to do any of those things. I can just go ahead and I'm going to look for our test folder. Or I can create a new folder from this point as well. I'm going to go to our test folder. As you can see, I have quite a few things listed here. So I want to move it there because that's where I want to share it. I want for the next step of our session today. So I'm saving it here and I'm moving it. And what it does, it wants to say, it gives me the warning. It gives me a soft warning and says, everyone who has access to this folder will see this file, this document. So I'm okay with that because that's the purposes of this. And as you can see, I got a confirmation that it's been changed. So I'm going to dismiss that because I don't need that anymore. And I'm going to ask you to click on the document that was saved in the Google Drive folder. And if you don't have that in the chat, let me know. We can share that again because I did notice that some people did come in after we shared that folder. So if you don't see it, let me know. And I'm happy to share that folder with you. Find it. Okay. So I didn't want to do that. So let me get out of that. So I want to little search in my Drive. Test Google 101. That's the folder. And I want to share it again. So I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to share. I'm going to get the link. And I want to copy the link and I'm going to add it again to our presentation. Yes, if you look in the folder that I'm sharing now, and I just put it in there, I added in this folder the slides from today's presentation, as well as a cheat sheet for Google Drive. So let's go back in here and we're done with this. And this is what you should see now. In this folder with the link that I just shared in the chat in Zoom, you'll see the slides that I shared earlier, as well as you'll see the document, the test document that I created in Google Drive through Google Docs, as well as a PDF cheat sheet. So you should have access to all this and you should be able to save it. Let's say you open this up and now you say, okay, this is something I want to get back to later. It's not something I can do right now. But I want to be able to find it later. How do I find it? You'll notice on the left-hand navigation pane, you have some items here. And one of those is shared with me. You can click on that and it'll be listed here under shared with me today and your suggested files. You can also click on recent if you've opened up the folder. And you'll see that information, as you can see, I've done some things recently in here, so it's in there. So in my instance, I can click on my Drive and go back to the folder. So I can find the folder here. It's listed in different ways. It can be sorted by name. It can be sorted in different ways, whether alphabetically from A to Z or Z to A, depending on how you like to work. So since I'm going to do Z to A because it's easier to find it because it's a T for test, and here it is, I can click on that. and open it up. And those are my folders. Those are my files in the folder. On the right-hand side, you'll notice that I have another navigation pane, and it tells me who has access to it and in what capacity that access is made. Just keep in mind, anything you add to your Google Drive, you keep and is absolutely private until you opt to share it. So no one has access to your information. No one can see that you've done this unless you share it with others. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this document in the center, since we're sharing this, just to talk a little bit about the collaboration of Google Drive. And I wanted to check in with everyone, see if they have any questions about what I did and how I did it before we go on to this next step.
I think that Edith has some questions.
Okay. So let's see. Are those in the chat?
Edith, are you out there and can you talk? Edith wants to know, where do you upload a file from or a folder, and does that take up your storage space?
Excellent questions. Thank you for asking that. So here, I went back to my Google Drive, and as you can see, directly on the left-hand navigation pane below at the very bottom, it tells you how much storage you have and how much you've used, just like everything else. Your computer tells you, your phone tells you, everything tells you what you have available and what's your capacity. So the standard capacity for Google for a free account is, I think, 15 gigabytes, which is a lot. So you can utilize 15 gigabytes of storage without having to pay for it. I've opted to go with the higher storage because I'm constantly in this and I do a lot of my work in Google Drive. And I am currently utilizing 59.74 gigabytes of 100 gigabytes. So yes, every time you upload something to your drive, you do indeed take up storage space. So it's great to be efficient, to have that information, and then to determine whether you need to go to the next level. Now, the next question was, where do you upload files and folders from? So if I'm clicking on new, I have the option to create a new folder, file upload, or folder upload. Let's click on file upload. What it does is it then opens up a dialog window. It didn't do it, probably because there it is. Okay, so it's a little bit of a delay. I can see here that I have a variety of options to open up my file explorer, because what it does is it communicates with my computer and says, okay, she wants to upload files, but let's pick up place and let's pick a file to upload from. It opens up to your file explorer on your computer or whatever the default is. It prompts you to select files that you may want to upload. So in this case, I've highlighted my documents folder on my computer, which is under your C drive, your local drive, your computer drive, your laptop drive. So you can do that as well. You can click in here and see what you have that you may want to upload. You may want to upload some photos. So you can look in here and you can upload photos as well. I can look in my file, see where it says pictures. I can click on pictures and I can upload photos directly from my computer to my Google Drive. I'm going to upload this lovely purple background just to show you. And you'll notice it's telling me that it's uploading it, and it has uploaded to this specific place where I am because I've selected this folder. If you're like me, and I save everything to Google Drive, you'll notice here that there is, in addition to these folders, there are specific files that I need to organize. So I save things to Google Drive. Everything is always in Google Drive, all this different information. So unless you organize it with folders, you're going to have a lot of files all over the place. The purpose of having the folders, and I'm just going to click on the downward facing arrow. And what it will do is it will provide you a list of all my folders. You'll see that on the screen. And I like to organize things based on what I'm working on. So you see here that I have quite a few folders, and they're listed in alphabetical order. And you can see that there are different icons on the folders. The top one, for example, is blank. That means it's a private folder. The one directly beneath it has a silhouette in it, which means it's a shared folder. So perhaps this was shared with me, or perhaps I shared it with someone else. So those are different things that are available to you. This one was a folder that I saved from someone else sharing their folder. And I saved what's called a shortcut. And all that is it saves it without saving it on your Google Drive. It just gives you quick access to that. When someone sends you a file to share, you don't have to put it on your computer. You don't have to put it in your Google Drive. You can create what's called a shortcut. And you do that by selecting when it's shared with you and how you want to save it to your Google Drive. So great questions there. Any other questions before I go on to the collaborative part of it?
Did I understand that correct? When you share a document, it is not on your Google Drive because you're sharing it?
No, when you share a document through Google Drive, it is definitely on your Google Drive. As you can see here, there's quite a few things here. And I shared with everyone this test folder. Let me get back to it. As you can see, these things are in my Google Drive because I'm the one who's looking at it. As the owner and uploading files, the moment that you upload, if you look on the bottom right-hand corner, the upload is definitely in my Google Drive. So I can go ahead and share this with you. I can go ahead from this point and share it with anyone. I can remove it as well from here. Okay?
Okay.
What I think you're referring to is the fact that when someone shares a folder with you, you don't necessarily have to save it to your Google Drive. You don't have to download it to your Google Drive or copy it to your Google Drive. You can create what's called a shortcut, which means that you are saving the quick access to that folder that someone else has shared with you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here we're looking at our files in our folder that says Test Google 101. And if you're following along and you'd like to do a little bit of practice, you can go ahead and click on the GD 26 May 2022, which is the file that I created, the doc that I created using Google Docs. So once you open it, you can see that we have access to it, and it tells me who is in this of the people that I've shared it with. So I can see that I probably have this open multiple times. So what happens is, if you want to type in something in this document, you will see, if you have it open on your end, you'll see that I have then done this. I didn't need to hit save. It saves automatically, and it tells me when my last edit was. And I can see here that someone is also in this document. In the navigation bar that's along the top, it tells me who is in this current document, who is in this current folder, who is in this current file. So we can collaborate live in person. Let's say we're having a meeting and we're taking notes and we're doing action items, or we're doing an edit on a document together. I don't have to send it to you to download it, to create edits, to save it, to send it again, right? It's all done in one place. I can create this and we can edit this together. We can go in here and our edits are saved automatically. So you're collaborating, I'm collaborating, we're doing this file together, we're in here, we're making our changes. Let's say I don't really have a change, but I want to make a comment. You'll notice to the right, or to the left rather, of where it says Google Meet, I can click on Open Comment History, right? And I can see all the comments that are listed. In this case, there are none, but let's say I want to add a comment for anyone who's reviewing this document. I can click on the plus sign, and I can see that my name pops up, and it's highlighted where that's being saved to. So I'm just going to type in something here. Hey, let's work on this by the morning, which is Monday, okay? And I can click to post the comment. I didn't have to send you an email. I didn't have to send you a private message. I didn't have to send you anything. I didn't have to get out of here to do that. So now this is highlighted, and I can see that there's something going on here. And I can see, if I use my bar to move over, I can see that there's a comment here. I can reply to you here, and we can keep track of this conversation. I don't have to send you an email. You reply to the email, I reply to the email, we talk about things. We can all do it here in this one space. And let's say maybe we go away for the weekend and we come back and say, okay, let's see what's new and exciting. So we can do that here. We can add this information. We can see this information here in front of us without having to go through 100 emails and threads and threads and threads to make sure we didn't miss anything. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So here we are. Let's say now I can reply to myself. Someone else can reply. If you would like to reply, you can do that. I can see here that I have this information. Let's say this happened, but I didn't get any notifications, or I know I need to come back to this. This is important. I need to get to this, but I just can't do it today. So one of the great things about this is, if you notice, next to the name of this particular file, we have some icons. This tells us we can move it. As the owner, I have the ability to move that. You can move it. As an editor, as a viewer, you can. There are different ways to provide access. I'll go over that in just a moment. We can see here that if I star this particular file, what happens is that indicates that it's important, and I know I need to get back to it right away. So then where do I find this in Google Drive? Excuse me. So I went back to Google Drive, and you'll notice in the left-hand navigation pane, there are a few items listed here. One of them is recent, and we can see our recent files, and we can see what's been done recently. And as you can see, I haven't clicked on it, but this updated immediately. Directly below where it says starred, that's where I would keep all those things that are important to me, all those things that I need to get back to right away. And that file that we were in, that document that we were in, shows up here as well. So if I'm a person, I don't like to have to search for things because it's frustrating. It's just a lot. I can star them to show that they're important to me, and I can get back to them. I can review them. And it doesn't change the status of the file itself. I can open it again. I'm just going to close this one. Okay, so I can open it again and make my changes, make my edits. Same platform as Word, where you can make different changes here. You can insert things, you can format things. You can use the different tools that are here. So this acts the same way, and you don't have to leave it. You don't have to get out of Google Drive. You can create it directly from Google Drive, and you can collaborate with someone, whether they're close or they're far, or you're just really quick trying to get a document together. You're sending out an invitation. You have a list of people that you're creating, and you can do all that in Google Drive. You don't have to leave Google Drive to do any of those things. So if you'd like to put a little bit of some information on here, you'd like to just type in a line, type in a word, type in your name, and just to see how it works, how it looks on your side. And you can do that. And this will be made available. I'll ask Debbie to share the link afterwards so that you have access to the resources that are available to you. So now that we've covered collaborating, I wanted to see if there were any questions about that. No questions about collaborating? Okay, great. So let's talk about how I can use Google Drive on the go. Let's talk about how I can use the files, how I can use the links, how I can use the information. And I'm going to go to my email, and I'm going to create a new email. And if you're familiar with Gmail, just click compose and you can type it. And I'm going to send this to Debbie. And what I want to do is share a folder with resources, right? So I'm going to click on attach because it's going to prompt me to attach files. And what it does is it goes directly to my default, which is my File Explorer. Let's say, for example, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to send anything from my computer. I want to send it from my Google Drive. I can go to my Google Drive and create the folder. I can select the folder. I can go again and copy the link. And I can go to my email. I can send it directly from here. So I don't even need to go to my email to send it. So, okay, so that's one less step that I need to worry about. So I want to share now with a specific person. So from here, I want to share it. I don't need to leave a Google Drive again. I don't need to go to my email to share it. I can send it to someone directly from Google Drive. I can type in a message. And the message that I'm typing is this folder is open for resources. Okay, and I'm just going to put my initials in here. And I can see here, I can check out the settings, who I choose to share it with. Editors can change permissions. I can look at my settings here. I can look here on across from where I typed in Debbie's name for her email, and it pulls it directly from Google. I don't have to copy and paste it. I don't have to look for it because we've communicated via email. It automatically populates because it communicates. Drive communicates with email to pull information that's necessary. I can determine which of these options. Maybe I just want her to comment on it. Maybe I just want it to be view only where there are no changes made. If I want that, I can change that there. A note about this, you'll see here where it says notify people. If you uncheck that, you won't get a notification that you've sent this. So I want a notification to go out to everyone who has access that I've added a new person to this. So I'm going to add myself as well so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, and I can see that this is the folder that's here. This is what I'm sharing. So this is the information you want to verify when you share a file or you share a folder. And I can go ahead and click send. I didn't have to leave Google Drive to do that. I can do this from my phone as well. I can upload folders that are directly accessible through Google Drive. I can do that. I can upload and share straight from here from the platform. If you opt to download the desktop application to your laptop or to your computer, you can do that as well and share directly from there. So any questions on how I did that and what that was just now? Okay, great. So let's go back to the email, and I don't need this, so I'm just gonna discard it. And I can see here that I shared this with myself, and this is what the notification looks like. When Debbie receives this email, she'll see this, and she'll see who it's been shared with. She'll see this information here, that this email went out to me as well as to Debbie. So I can see this information that is listed here. My contacts are listed. I keep my contacts up to date in Google. So all this information is in one place where I don't have to go to multiple places to find it. And I can see the folders here. I can open this folder directly here. And what it does is just opens the entire folder. A note about collaborating on documents. I'm just going to go back to this. If you were to download it, for example, which as an editor, you would have the option to do so. If you were to download it and make changes, those do not save in Google Drive. And the reason for that is that you're downloading it to your computer, you're saving a local copy, which means you would have to upload it again to Google Drive if you want to share it or send it as an attachment. Google Drive allows you the ability to change information, to update information, to collaborate on a platform that saves it instantly without you having to go back to share it and share it and share it over. So just keep those very distinctive. You can go right on here on Google Drive and you can make your changes and your edits and your updates. You can add your comments, you can do your formatting, you could do different things here. And it all is captured in one place. If you were to download it to your local computer, to your documents folder on your computer, then any changes you make to it are not reflected in the Google Drive document, because what you've done is create a copy that is no longer connected to Google Drive, unless you're using the Google Drive desktop application. That's a different thing. It just allows you to do that without having to log in on the website. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that that makes sense to everyone. Because I find that sometimes when a document is shared and there are changes made and they're not reflected, that's usually the reason it happens. So it's because someone will download it, make their changes, and expect them to show up in Google Drive, and that doesn't happen automatically if you've downloaded the file to your computer. Okay, let's talk about another aspect of Google Drive. Let's say Debbie has sent me some information, and let me find it. Let me find what I'm looking for. Here we are. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. So let's see here. Is that the one? No. Oh, wrong thing. So here we are. Ah, this is what I'm looking for. This is an email that Debbie sent out with this information about today's session, as well as the one on June 7th. You'll notice as I hover over the graphics, if I hover over, I have some options here. I have some options as to downloading it, add it to my Google Drive, or save it to my photos in Google. So you have the ability for graphics or documents to save those downloads to different places. And if you hover over it or by it, you'll see those options made available to you. You can download it directly to your computer. You can add it to your drive, to your Google Drive. Let's say you want to get back to it. You can do that as well. And as I hover over this one, since I had already saved this one, that's why it's showing me the folder here. Let's say that this is something new. I can add it to my drive with a simple click. And there it is. So I've added this to my drive. Now I want to organize it. And let's say I want to add this to my test folder. So let's go down to our test folder. So I want to organize it. I want to move it there. And it's letting me know. Again, it's giving me the soft warning. I can click on that and it tells me that it's been moved. Any questions about what I did there? You can do the same thing with attachments, PDF attachments, Word attachments, any attachments that are sent to you by someone else. So that brings us to 12:50, and I want to open the floor for specific life experiences and questions that you may have about Google Drive.
Susan, do you want to go off full screen or go on?
Oh, yeah, hold on one second. Let me just get in here so I can stop share, so I can stop the share. And hi, everyone.
Hi. So
Okay.
thank you all for your patience in getting into the meeting. We had some technical problems on our end at Union Library, but I'm glad you were able to get in. I wonder if you can talk about how you might be able to use Google Drive, what you can anticipate and how you might use it. As Susan will tell you, she's taught me so much about using it, and I'm using it to schedule meetings. I'm using it in 100 different ways. It is a great place to organize everything.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that you were able to take away from the experience and utilize it. You can use Google Drive for your business as an entrepreneur. You can use it to save your resume, your cover letters, if you're on the go and there's a job that you're interested in applying for. You can have your cover letter and you can edit your cover letter right in Google Drive. You can send your resume directly from Google Drive. You can add it as an attachment, even if you're on your mobile device. You don't even have to leave your mobile device to share things from Google Drive. You can collaborate, like Debbie and I collaborate. We have a shared folder that we add information to and we update regularly. You can do anything. You want to save your photos, you're working on flyers for events, you're working on event invitations, and you can create a form directly from Google Drive to capture information that you might need. So the possibilities are endless. And just one thing to note, Google Drive is only as strong as your Wi-Fi, as your internet connection. So if you're trying to upload something to Google to your mobile device, or if you're on Wi-Fi at home, just keep in mind that it might take a few minutes for it to upload, and you will be notified immediately from Google Drive once it's been saved. So I see that there are a couple questions.
At this
So-
moment, I'll just take a plug for the Union Public Library newsletter, which I always say the best thing you can do. And I'm going to stop recording here. The best thing about the newsletter. Let's see, I'm trying to go to stop recording.